All right, so when a pipe bursts or your home floods, what's the first thing you see? It's the water, right? The big, obvious mess. But here's the thing. What if the biggest danger is actually the stuff you can't see? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on water damage and really dig into what's happening behind your walls.
So let me ask you this. What do you think is the most damaging part of a flood? I mean, really, what does the most long-term harm? Is it the soaked carpet? The ruined furniture? You might think so, but the real answer? Well, it's probably not what you're expecting.
It's the water you can't see. Yeah, that's right. It's the moisture that gets trapped, the stuff that wicks its way up into your drywall like a sponge and just hides deep inside the structure of your house. That hidden water, that's where the real nightmare begins.
Okay, so to really get a handle on this, we've got to look at all the sneaky ways water gets in. And, it's not always some big, dramatic hurricane on the news. A lot of the time, it's something way more common and totally unexpected.
I mean, we're talking about stuff we barely even think about, right? A tiny crack in the foundation slab, a storm, sure, or even just some local flooding. But what about a washing machine hose that just decides to give up? Or old, corroded pipes? Even a clogged AC line can do it. Any one of these can unleash just as much chaos as a big storm. And just to put that into perspective, get this. A single burst washing machine hose can pump out up to 400 gallons of water an hour. 400! If that thing runs for just a couple of hours while you're out, you're basically dealing with a small swimming pool inside your living room. And all that water, it has to go somewhere. And where that water goes, and more importantly, how long it stays there, is absolutely critical. Because the second that water gets in, a clock starts ticking, and you are officially in a race against time.
Okay, look at how fast this happens. In the first hour, the water just spreads everywhere, soaking into carpets, baseboards, subfloors, everything. Fast forward to 24 hours, and you're seeing real structural damage. Drywall starts to swell up and fall apart. I mean, it's basically a big paper sponge. Wood floors, they start buckling and warping. But that 48-hour mark, that is the big one. That's the deadline you absolutely cannot miss.
Because after just 2 days, that hidden moisture turns into the perfect breeding ground. Mold colonies start to take over in all those dark, damp places, behind the walls, inside the insulation, deep in the wood framing. And we're not talking about a slow creep here. It's an explosion. This isn't just about an ugly stain on the wall. It becomes a serious health hazard and a threat to the integrity of your entire home.
So what's the big takeaway here? You have to move fast, and you have to be incredibly thorough. This is not a job for a shop vac and a couple of box fans from the garage, okay? Let's dive into the playbook that the pros use to tackle this thing head-on. It's a really methodical 3-step process. Step 1. Emergency extraction. They come in with these massive truck-mounted pumps and vacuums to get all that standing water out, and they do it fast. Step 2, and this is the most important part, structural drawing. This is where they literally hunt down and eliminate every last bit of that hidden moisture. And only then, after everything is proven to be completely dry, can Step 3, the reconstruction, even begin. All right, now let's geek out a little on that second step, the drying part. Because this is where the real science and expertise comes into play. It's not just about pointing fans. It's a full-on battle against physics and the local environment, especially in humid places. Think about a place like Houston in the summer. The air outside is already packed with moisture, right? We're talking 85 to 95% humidity. That air is like a sponge that's already full. It can't soak up any more water. So trying to air dry a house is pointless. That's why professional drying has to be an active, scientific process, not just sitting around and waiting for things to happen. And that's exactly why the pros follow these super strict, science-based guidelines, like the ICRC S500 standards. It's the official playbook for this stuff. It means there's no guesswork involved. It tells them exactly how to map out the moisture, what equipment to use, and how to create a controlled environment that literally forces the moisture out of the building materials. It's all about guaranteeing a complete and safe restoration.
And to do that, they bring in a whole arsenal of specialized gear. We're talking massive commercial-grade dehumidifiers that can pull gallons and gallons of water straight out of the air. High-velocity air movers that create this whirlwind of evaporation. It's all about creating a super dry bubble inside the wet house. But a huge part of the process is diagnostics. First, you have to find all the water. And this is where the tech gets really cool. They use thermal imaging cameras to see right through the walls. Now, the camera doesn't actually see water, it sees temperature. And because of evaporation, wet spots are always cooler. So on the screen, they show up as these dark, almost ghostly patches, instantly revealing exactly where water is trapped.
It literally makes the invisible visible.
Now, another huge factor is the type of water they're dealing with. Not all water damage is created equal. You've got Category 1, which is clean water, say from a broken supply line. Then there's Category 2, or gray water, which might come from a dishwasher and has some contaminants. But the really bad stuff is Category 3, black water. Think sewage or floodwater from outside. That's a serious biohazard, and it completely changes the game plan, dictating what can be saved and what absolutely has to be ripped out.
Okay, so let's say the emergency crews have done their job. The drying equipment is gone. What happens next? Well, now you've got to navigate the aftermath, and that usually starts with one thing: insurance.
And this is a really important distinction you need to know. Your standard homeowner's policy will usually cover sudden and accidental damage, like that washing machine hose that bursts. But what it typically doesn't cover is gradual damage, like a slow leak you ignored for months. And it almost never covers flooding from rising water outside your home. For that, you need a totally separate flood insurance policy. Knowing that difference is absolutely key.
So how can you be on the lookout for a hidden water problem before it gets out of hand? Well, there are some classic telltale signs. You've got that persistent, musty smell you just can't get rid of. Water stains that seem to be growing on the ceiling or walls. Peeling paint, swollen baseboards, and of course, if you see any buckling in your floors or visible mold, those are giant red flags that you have a moisture problem that needs professional help fast. And that really brings us back to our big idea. Just because the standing water is gone, it does not mean the problem is solved. True restoration isn't about making things look dry. It's about making them scientifically, verifiably dry to protect your home and your family's health. So it leaves us with one final crucial question. The water might be gone, but is your home truly restored?